Okay. So we'll get started. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. This is just kind of a recap since orientation and to kind of get everybody back in the same time and space about getting ready for expeditions, because there's a couple of people that are already starting to gear up for their own expeditions, and that's Adina. I don't even remember what day you're leaving, but it's really soon. Saturday. Okay, there you go. And Jennifer is not far behind you, or pretty close at the same time. I can't quite remember her dates either, but I know it's been, it may seem like a long time since orientation but in Fairbanks, but somehow between February and March just disappeared. I don't know. And so did the rest of February. Now it's like April. And I'm sure the researchers themselves are starting to gear up. Oh, Steve, did you make it?
Yes, I did. Okay,
great. So before we go into everything, and I know Judy sent out a presentation to everybody through email. I'll pull that up on my screen and we'll kind of touch base on some of those things. But before I do that, I want to have everybody reintroduce themselves. And just like orientation teachers, since most of the researchers aren't here, and we got some that might not have met you before, tell them who you are, what expedition you're going on, and so forth. I'm going to start with who I see in my window, so there's no logic to this. And I'm going to start with Lee.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Lee Teven, and I will be going on the Jellyfish in the Bering Sea expedition with Mary Beth Decker and Hongshin Lee, and that will be from July 28th till August 5th.
All right, very nice. Next up is Steve.
I am
Steve.
Oh, that's okay. Steve, there's two Steves, I forgot. We'll do teacher Steve, and we'll get to you, Steve, researcher Steve, in a moment.
All right. I'm Steve Kirsch. I'm going to be going in early June to Greenland. I'll be working with Ian Baker for drilling ice core samples and then bringing them back to look at them with the scanning microscope to see how the structure of the ice is holding up deeper down.
All right, Dave.
Dave Jones. I'm in Missoula, Montana, and we're headed for the Arctic and be on a Canadian icebreaker doing some Cohort RC research. Mike Stramford is I think on here somewhere.
I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and for those of you that might not be able, if you turn it to gallery view, you can see little heads everywhere instead of super view. Lisa Sepp.
Oh, there it is.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm finally over the plague that I had when I was Fairbanks. And I'll be studying upwelling and ecology along the Beaufort Sea Shelf Ridge aboard the research vessel, the Sikuliak, with Dr. Okensi, who's on the phone right now, Karen Ashen, and Robert Campbell, who I worked with back in 2012. We were based out of Barrow back then.
Okay, Adina.
Hi, I'm Adina Terrace, and I'm going to be part of Operation Icebridge in Greenland, and we're going to be taking a plane and measuring sea ice and land ice with NASA.
Very good. Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Harris, and I will be headed to Lake Peters, Alaska on the North Slope this summer during August. Where we will be taking sediment cores and hydrology measurements in order to recreate paleoclimate.
All right. And Ruth.
Hi, I'm Ruth Rodriguez. I will be working with the University of Texas at El Paso. I'll be heading to Barrow, Alaska in July with the International Polar Year research opportunities for in the Arctic for minorities.
All right, and now we'll turn it over to the researchers that have joined us. Thank you for those guys all introducing yourself. We'll start with Mary Beth.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Beth Decker. Lee and I will be going up to the Bering Sea to study early life stages of jellyfish. As she mentioned, we're going in July. Although I'm excited to meet Lee next week. We're having a PI meeting to plan our cruise, so we'll have a chance to talk. We're also going on the Sikuliak in May, so we're starting to get everything together, and Lee's going to be part of that planning session next week.
Very nice. Good job. It looks like Mike, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Mike DeGrampre from the University of Montana. Like Dave said, we're going up to the Beaufort Sea to do a bunch of biogeochemical measurements on the Louis St. Laurent, the Canadian icebreaker. That's going to happen in early September, about a month-long cruise.
Okay. And Corey.
Hi, I'm with Northern Arizona University and the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and we are heading up to Tulip Field Station in 9 days. So Jennifer will be joining us, and she's probably asleep right now, but yeah, we're looking forward to have her work on our project studying timing in Arctic ground squirrel.
All right. I know. I can't believe your expedition's coming up. Steve, on the phone, Steve.
Yep. Steve Oakden, University of Alaska Fairbanks. Lisa's going to join us on a little different kind of oceanographic venture this summer. We'll be leaving Nome 24 August and returning to Nome, I think it's the 18th or 19th of September. In the meantime, we'll be up on the Beaufort Shelf slope area, looking at upwelling and its influence on Arctic cod and the distribution of beluga whales. And we'll be on the research vessel Sikuliak.
That'll be good. So Mary Beth and Steve, have you both been on the new ship, the Sikuliak? Have either of you?
Not yet.
Yes.
No.
Steve, you're a yes on that. Okay.
Yeah, I was on the shakedown cruise in Puerto Rico.
Darn it all.
I know, it was tough.
Well, you'll be valuable for learning about internet and all those kind of good things and some logistics related to the ship. Okay, awesome. Well, it's great to see you all. Like Judy said, she was sorry she wasn't able to join today, but she signed up for some kind of class. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to share my screen, and Steve, basically, we're going to go through that PDF that you got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So hopefully, you guys can all see my my screen. Whoops. And my crazy desktop. So yeah, if you're chatting and asking me questions and things like that, I actually can't see any of you at this moment, and I can't read chat. So I'm kind of in my own little world. Just pipe in and let me know if you have a question as we go along. Here's our happy faces. The basic gist of today's webinar is to kind of realign you, like I said, back with your expeditions and really talk about some of the logistics and address any of your questions, especially the teachers and researchers as well, if you have any questions about what's next and what's happening next with your teacher. And then we'll dive into just a little bit about some of your newer thoughts about how you might share this expedition with your students and the public. So just to give you an idea of who does what again, this is a reminder for everybody except for Adina, because she's the NASA teacher, that for the most part, Robbie Score is working with all of the Arctic teachers and is doing all of the logistics. And this means that she's going to be purchasing tickets for you. And I know she's already started to contact some of you about these things. She's going to get you clothing. She's going to ship gear to you. She's going to do some out briefs once you come back. She's going to coordinate any clearance that you need. She's going to help with all those travel logistics for you going to and from the field. And I think like for Jennifer and Corey going up to Tulik, she's been working on the user. She did all the user day stuff and helped them with that process. So she's really the point of contact for all of the logistics. That being said, when you have logistical questions and she's going back and forth with you on some things, especially the bigger things, please make sure that you contact Judy and myself, or include us at least on those emails so that we can stay on top of it. And even though Robbie's doing all of that work for you. Arcus's role for the Arctic teachers as far as logistics is that our big thing is going to help oversee, we're going to oversee that whole process. We're going to do the pre-field logistics call with you and set that up. Again, Adina and Jennifer and Corey and John Woods have all been through this process already. And the rest of you, it's just starting to, depending on when you're leaving, get started. But if you're gone while your school is in session, we will reimburse your school. We'll reimburse any medical expenses that aren't covered by insurance, any lodging and travel stuff that isn't provided by the CPS. And the other thing that we can provide you is a travel advance if you need it. Researchers, you shouldn't be paying for anything. If you are, that's related to your teachers. I should take that back. You shouldn't have, yes, you should be paying for your research, not the teacher. So if there's something that's come up about, and you're like, oh, how do I cover the cost of having this teacher with my research project, please contact us and we'll go over that. And then teachers, your goal is to stay on top of all of the paperwork and processes. Some pre-filled reminders. I realized when Judy sent the original slide out, it said, oh, the logistics are settled. That was last year. So logistics are not settled for the Arctic expeditions. And we do want to address your questions. And I'll do that in a moment and see if there's any questions that are good for the whole group versus individual things. Also for teachers, just a reminder that we've matched you up with partner teachers, and we will be they've been contacted, and we'll let you know again who they are and if they'll be joining your pre-field call. And for the researchers, the partner teachers are alumni that have either gone to the location or done something similar, and they usually join the pre-field call or available by email for the teachers. They act kind of like as mentors, but they usually pipe in on some of these more other questions that sometimes we just don't know about, or remind us about things that we all forgot about. Let's see, substitute costs are already covered. Just one little thing that happens with CPS and travel receipts. They all go to CPS when you do your expedition stuff. It's not like orientation where they don't come to Arcus again. And we have the ECW kits. Okay. So before I get into logistical questions and stuff, actually, before I get into education outreach planning, let's go back. I would like to find out from people if there is some logistical expedition questions that you have that would pertain to pretty much the entire group, or something specific that you're just dying to know that you just can't wait till a pre-field call. So maybe I'll go around the room just to make sure that I touch on everybody. So again, I'm just going to start at the top of the window. Lee, you have any questions about logistics?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Related to that, Mary Beth, when are you leaving for your field work?
We're trying to We will discuss that next week and come up with specific dates. I believe we're still trying to understand exactly where we're meeting the ship in the summer.
Okay.
So that's a little bit up in the air. We do need, and we'll go into the details, but we need to probably leave a couple days in order to get to Dutch Harbor because it's often difficult to reach. But we'll get those details next week, I hope.
Okay, yeah, so one thing for all the expeditions that are leaving earlier in the summer is that Robbie's score is also starting her field work or starting to go out into the field. I believe she's going to Tulik or something here soon. And anyway, she's going to want to start purchasing airline tickets, especially for Alaska summer travel. So the sooner we figure out the dates of travel for teachers, the happier that we'll make.
When is she leaving?
I think she's leaving in May. So you'll have time to have your meeting, and we can you can get back to us, and we'll probably have a pre-field call for your team earlier rather than later because of your field work as well. Okay, Steve, any logistical questions for you?
For me too, none at this point, but I'm sure there'll be some coming down the road.
Okay. Yep. And I think Judy sent out an email or doodle poll or something about your pre-field call coming up.
Oh, okay.
Dave, anything from you? You're just a long ways out.
Yeah, I'm in good shape right now.
Okay.
If I need anything, I can just run over to Mike's house.
Sure.
Can't hear you very well.
He's going to run over to your house, can knock on the middle of the night and ask you some questions.
All right, well, but I have a question that we talked about sort of audio-visual equipment for the cruise. Dave was unsure if we could get support for that from you guys.
Like
well, like GoPros or.
We don't have any, but yeah, why don't we think about that? I don't know if there's anybody that we could borrow some from either.
Well, my funding could support it, but I was hoping that the statement that we didn't have to buy anything was
was really true for equipment. Let me talk to Zeb about that.
Okay. Oh, well, the other one was the Iridium phone, but.
Yeah, that one we can ask CPS because they might have for the ship.
Well, it's for the being on the ice from the ship, yeah.
Okay.
Something, yeah.
All right, I'll ask Robbie that one because that's a contract with SRI that does that.
Okay.
So yeah. But those are good ones to also, when we get to your pre-field call, to remember. But I'm going to ask about that one earlier rather than later. So. Lisa, how are you doing? You and Steve.
Good. Karen and I just started talking today about working with teachers in Nome, where we're going to be heading out of. So I was going to talk to you to find out if you guys had any contacts, and Karen, I think, had some contact there too.
I do. I have a new contact for Nome. So ping me on that one by email so I remember.
Yep, but everything else is good. Yep, so we're talking and they're sharing any of their sort of group discussions with me. So it's great.
That's good. Okay. Adina, I know you're leaving this weekend. How are you feeling? You're muted.
Now I can talk. Nervous and excited.
All right. And Judy wanted to know if you got your check. Did you ever get your check?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Yay. All right. I'm going to come back to you about words of advice in a little while, so you think about that.
Okay.
Okay, Rebecca.
I'm starting to get really worried about connectivity. I've talked with Ellie and Daryl at length, and they are not convinced that I will be able to post anything from the satellite phone. So they've had a really hard time with it.
I'm not surprised. It will be hard.
Okay.
Yeah. Which reminds me, yeah, and I think your pre-field call, Judy's trying to set up also.
Okay.
And I know that we still have to get your computer to SRI and so forth.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll come back to your technical issue. Ruth.
Actually, no, I just emailed Vanessa today, and I'm kind of just waiting to see if she responds, but nothing yet. Still good.
Okay. And I forgot, what dates are you going, Ruth?
I think it's the July 27th. I have no, it's like tentative when we're getting back, but yeah, I'll ask Vanessa about that too.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know some of you may be stressing, but let me tell you, you're all right on track. Perfect amount of stress. None to I'm freaking out, I leave tomorrow. Okay, it's all good. You're doing the right thing. So, like I said, some of you will be doing pre-field calls here, and getting back to my PowerPoint. Okay, we should all be back on PowerPoint, and for Steve on the phone, we're still on pre-field reminders. And I'm changing slides now to education outreach planning. So some of the things that you need to do before you go out in the field as teacher participants is to do the education outreach planning. And I know that it's going to be very difficult for some of you to do this as school is ending and as you're getting ready for the field. It won't be as hard for those that are leaving later in the summer. And even that being said, some of you will put it off until the last minute. This is to remind you that it does exist, and it's all in the teacher's manual. Reminder before you go out in the field, there's these elements that we need, and the needs assessment, we need that networking strategy, and these are just bullets. They don't have to be crazy, long things. It's just some ideas. The networking strategy, and all of you are talking to your researchers right now, so this shouldn't be very hard to do. What you want to do in your classroom, how you want to bring this back to other teachers in your community, and how you want to bring this back to the public. So just draft ideas. You have to go in and you have to upload them yourself. And then when you come back, of course, it's the lesson plans, an essay, and the report. But we'll remind you of those pieces. And a couple of you have been really good about doing your outreach and documenting it and using the online web form. That should pick up for you as you get closer and closer to the departure of your expedition, and when you come back, you should be doing more and more of outreach and tracking it.
Hey, Janet,
yes.
I have a question about that. If we're just sending, like I just sent an email to the principal of the Kaktovik school, does that count as outreach, even though it's just very basic, hey, I'm out here doing this, and we might try to meet up with you?
No, I mean, you can track that kind of contact for yourself, but no, when I'm talking about outreach documentation, it should be like any actual event, like a newspaper article, a blurb on a website about you going, if you go and present at a class or something.
Okay, I have another question.
Yep.
My superintendent happened to show up in my classroom when my researchers were there, and he wrote up a piece in the paper without my knowledge. So I haven't seen it yet. I have no idea if it's accurate, but is that outreach since he came in and wrote up that experience?
Yep.
Okay.
And this goes also for the researchers. If something, because we don't see everything, but if you have something that's related to the teacher being with you, or it gets published in your world, just share it with your teacher and ARCIS, and then we can make sure it gets tracked on our end. And for researchers, I'll stop sharing. I'll show you where this goes on. And it lives, actually. So where it lives, hold on a moment. So where this lives for all of you, if you're a researcher, you can see what kind of outreach is happening with your teacher on the PolarTREC website. You want to go and, let me find a teacher here. Can everybody see my website? Just so make sure that you're all tracking, except for Steve on the phone. Is that a yes? Yes. Okay, so you can look it up by expedition, or you can look it up by members, but on the main site, we'll go to Kelly McCarthy right now because she's been very active. If you find your teacher, you can view their profile, and you should see the picture of them. You should see some photos that they have. You can learn all about that person. And then if you scroll down at the bottom, you can see documents that they've uploaded, which are related to the education outreach plan I was just talking about. You can see resources. And so, like, these are a couple of news articles that Kelly has been doing, been involved in, and journals. So that's where your teacher and their outreach will show up, is under resources. In case you're looking for a quick snapshot of what they're doing in the world. Okay, any questions about education outreach planning and tracking requirements and those pieces from anybody? Okay, I should expect to see some things being uploaded soon. All right.
Actually, I have a real quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, like, if I present, like, to my school or my class or my principal, like, mentions me, it doesn't count. It has to be, like, written, or does that count too for outreach?
Yeah, it should be something that we can go to and look, or you can, upload. Yeah. Like articles, or what, if there's a website, like if they put you on the school website, you can take a picture of that and save it. That's the one thing about the website stuff. Make sure you save it somehow as a PDF, because the link will die eventually. So.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. All right. So one of the things I wanted to hear from everybody about is your ideas of what you want to do, or what you're doing to get everybody excited about your expedition. And so I think, Adina, since you're going out the soonest, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with your students and in your school to get everybody following your expedition?
Okay. I've been talking to my students. I did several lessons on Operation Icebridge, and basically the difference between sea ice, land ice, and cryosphere. At one of the meetings for all the teachers in the school, the principal told everybody about my trip, and they put it on the web page at my school, the links to my journal, and the link to the PolarTREC Icebridge page. And I also did a news interview, so the local news came to our school, so I have that also linked on the school website. And then I did a journal article, which will be coming out in May. And when I come back, they're going to do a presentation at my school about file everything that I have with pictures and everything that I have done.
All
So
right.
that's where I'm at so far.
Okay. And then has your sub been introduced to everything as well and knows where to find you? Virtually?
My son has my phone number. He's been in there at the school like the last 3 days, so we are good to go with the sub.
Good. And then also for this group, if you haven't seen it, and maybe Adina can share it with you, from the NASA planes, they do XChat, so make sure that you sign up for XChat. So these are live chats from the NASA Operation Icebridge, so your students can follow Adina and the team.
I can put it on the Facebook page, the link to it for the Facebook page, and you just have to email Emily, and she'll set you up with an ID, and then you can pick a time and talk to me.
Okay. Did everybody get that? It's kind of hard to hear, or there was some noise there. Okay, cool. How about Corey? What have you and Jennifer, or I don't know, I've been following Jennifer a little bit, but is there anything about outreach that you guys want to talk about or share?
So I know that Jennifer's school just released, I think today or yesterday, an article on her coming up to Tulip with us. And got an abstract accepted for a meeting to present, and I'm not sure what the meeting is, on her expedition.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think we just established the dates for the Polar Connect events. And I don't know if she's contacted you to set those up yet or if that's complete, but she's planning to do one basically in the middle of the night so that she can connect with her students back in Switzerland, and then another one in the daytime for U.S. students.
Yep. Okay. Good. Yeah, I saw the emails going by. I don't think it's been finalized, but that's good to know. So we'll watch her. Okay. How about now we'll go back around and find out what you guys, other teachers, are doing for their outreach things, and we'll mix it up a bit, and we'll start with Ruth.
Okay, so in May, I'm actually doing a presentation to our school as part of like a cultural geography / thing. I'm presenting to the school board in April, or actually no, May. I don't know the date yet, but I'll be presenting when they have the next school board meeting. And I'm actually going to talk to Vanessa to see if I can talk to, I think there's like it's called a Master Academy, and it's all the students who are going to be teachers, and I'll present to some of those guys too. So that's what I currently have so far, but I'll work on getting some other things going.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe when Lee gets to her turn, she can comment about presenting to the school board. Give you some tips here. Rebecca.
All right, so Ellie and Daryl were able to come up, and Mindy, who is Daryl's wife, PolarTREC alumni, they all came up to my classroom during their spring break and spent the whole day talking about their research and giving the students and me a little bit better of a background on that. And so that was really cool, and the students absolutely loved it. And having that connection to the researchers, I think, is really important for them to be able to know who they are and actually feel that connection to them. And then I got back on Sunday night from a visit down to their lab, where I met Corey as well. And we had a really great lab meeting where they debriefed me on their research. So that's not direct outreach, but being able to come back and share a little bit with my students about that trip. And I think just the ongoing excitement of these various events has kept engagement levels pretty high. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the superintendent made a surprise visit to my classroom just when they happened to be presenting, and so that was cool. And apparently there's a newspaper article out there, but I still haven't read it. Superintendent said, "I hope it's all right," and I said, "Yes, so do I." I wish you'd let me write it, but no, it's okay. Hopefully it's good. And yeah, that's about it for now.
Okay. Yeah, as you guys, especially like Ruth and Rebecca, before you break for the summer, make sure you're, I don't know, we'll talk more, I guess, a little bit about summer and engaging kids, but I don't know if you can hand out, your link and make sure that they take something home with them to their parents, so that they follow you during the summertime.
I was actually planning on using Lisa's suggestion of the postcards because I thought that was a really awesome one.
Okay, great. All right, Lisa.
Yeah, hi. I'm gonna, excuse me, do the postcard thing again. And I may end up getting to Alaska before my trip, so I can just bring them with me and send them out. If not, I'll ask for your gnome connection. And hopefully be working with a teacher there beforehand. And after the project I'm working on now with grades 3 through 6, I got all of the things I need for them to make krill nets of their own out of nylons and wire and stuff. So we'll be catching krill in the estuary that's right behind the school that we have. And I'm trying to work with some other teachers to come up with an idea of how they could compare and contrast the ecology and the food web that we have in our own estuary to what we're going to be studying along the Beaufort Shelf. So that's a work in progress. And then students in all the grades at the school, which is K through 8, are going to be working on their posters and drawings of organisms in the food chain from phytoplankton up to the beluga whales. I think we're going to get a lot of beluga whales, but hopefully some krill and things too. And then they'll know that some of their diagrams end up being shown, as a highlight in each journal. So between the postcards and knowing that their pictures may be published online, and someone just dropped off 3 stuffed beluga whales, so I don't know how we're going to incorporate that into something, but I'll figure it out. So far so good, and talked to the senior center, and they're excited to join in with us before, like they did. And I spoke to the Kiwanis Club a couple weeks ago, and they would also like a presentation, preferably they said before and after. So it's all good.
Very nice. Yeah, so you're doing all of this before school gets out? Is that your?
Yeah, because since ours starts in the summer, that you don't have them as that captive audience. And then my school will actually start for a few weeks before I get back. So I'm also working with the sub. Hopefully it'll be the same woman that has subbed for me in the past several times, just to set up exactly what they'll be working on, which we're leaning toward that compare and contrast of the ecosystem that's in the student's backyard with what we'll be looking at along the Beaufort Shelf. So yeah, hook them in the summer when we first start, although it's only it sounds like we'll be on the ship for just about a week ahead of time, but try to get them linked into it ahead of time. So when they walk into school, they'll already have a good idea of krill from the spring and a little bit of what we're doing in the journals when it's the summertime.
Very good, cool. Okay, Steve Kirsch.
Okay. For me, I've got a couple things going on. I haven't really reached out to the press yet because I'm just now in that 2-month window, and I didn't want to go too early on getting stuff out. So I'll be doing that here in the next couple weeks. I talked to a couple people, but not officially yet. I've been bringing it up a lot in my classroom, and they will be out by the time I leave. I leave about a week after school gets out. So I'll be sending something home with them that'll have a link on it so that we'll keep them involved. And I also found out that about 50 of the students I have this year, I will have next year as well. So that'll give me a nice bridge with them. That's something to talk about when they get back. Been working with my administration about trying to get into some of the elementary classrooms because we're K as well. I'm going to kind of target the 5th grade because I think they're old enough to kind of understand it, young enough to be excited about it, and try to go in and visit their classrooms and make a little presentation and give them something as well to try to get them to follow it over the course of the summer.
Okay, cool. Is anybody making homework assignments for the summer? Required? Nobody? Okay, Dave, you're a long ways out, but will you have, Dave, you're muted. Dave, you'll have the chance, will you be back at school before you go out in the field?
It's looking like it, yeah.
Okay.
So, probably a week. So I had a couple of just short articles, one in school newsletter and one in the district newsletter. And I will get those uploaded sooner than later. And then Mike and I were talking about having some of my kids visit his lab, probably after his semester is done, towards the waning hours of our year. Kind of a start.
Okay.
Yep. And we've been talking ice science and various other aspects of the Arctic now lately. Just little filler things here and there.
Okay, cool. And Lee.
I spoke at the school board meeting, and that was on March 15th, I think. And a few days later, I had a table at the Women in STEM presentation at a local museum, the Nauticus. And that was really good, very interactive. I had a lot of people come by. At the school board meeting, that was very good outreach. I had a principal contact me. He wants me to come and speak to his school. And I had a woman from the gifted education group call me, and she wants me to come and speak at her son's school.
Okay. Any tips for Ruth on speaking at the school board or anybody else? Was that worth it?
Pardon?
Any tips on talking with the school board, and was it worth it?
Oh, it was. I spoke at the meeting after the proposed budget was made public. And I think in the list of 28 speakers, I was the only one who had something positive to say. So the superintendent really liked what I had to say.
Yeah. Very good.
I think it was the only nice thing of the evening.
That's good. So for the researchers or those of you that might be shy about school board, actually I've had researchers do presentations themselves to school boards and the communities that they're going into, or if they happen to be there while school's in session. And it's worth it. Actually, you get a lot of support, a lot more support, especially if you're working out of communities. So, you know, Mary Beth, maybe not now, but in the future, you know, and same with Steve, you know, those communities that you're working out of, that might be worth considering. If you can't do it before the research, maybe consider going back and presenting during the school year or something. And it doesn't have to be necessarily in person. So a lot of those places now do virtual meetings as well. But it's nice to get on the city council, school board, kind of different councils and let them know what's happening in their community. I don't know, Steve, do you have any, Okino, do you have any thoughts about that or presenting? Have you done presentations to some of the communities you and Karen have been out at? I lost him. He's muted. You're muted. Sorry if you're talking. Okay, Steve, are you there? Okay. Any other thoughts about? Oh yeah, now I hear you.
Yeah, Karen and I were up in Barrow in December. The Bowhead project kind of finally wound down, and we gave 7 presentations in 3 days there. 4 to classrooms, 1 to Department of Wildlife Management, 1 community and one to a group of teachers.
Very good. I bet that was well received.
Yeah, for the most part it was.
Yeah, you guys may work with, you might think about in Nome and Lisa doing a school board presentation in the future.
Yeah, University has a map agent there, Gay Sheffield, and Karen's already pinged Gay, and Gay's kind of a force of nature, so if it happens.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, great contact right there. Okay, any other outreach ideas or questions about outreach or issues people are having on doing outreach?
I have a quick question. Does anybody have any school contacts in Dutch Harbor or possibly Seward?
There's a map agent, University of Alaska map agent in Dutch Harbor. I'll send Janet the link.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that was Mary Beth Decker that was asking about that as well, Steve. So,
okay, yep.
Yeah, and for since all of you are doing, all the researchers online today are doing Arctic or Alaska-based things. Well, actually, that's not true for Mike. But anyway, the ones that are doing Alaska, there is. I have a connection to the Alaska Science Teachers Association, so that might be another way to help you out. You know, I can broadcast something through that listserv as well. And for Mike and Dave, I don't know how interested you're doing in connecting with Canadian schools up in the high Arctic, but there's I do have a connection also with Canadian high Arctic schools. So I don't know, Mike, where are you guys, where's the ship leaving from? Or you're muted. Sorry. Go ahead. Now you can talk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's in Kugluktuk. We don't spend much time there, but typically I think there's one hotel there. So it's an interesting place, but it would be a fun adventure to try to do that for sure. So we're really interested in looking into that.
Okay. Yeah, I have they just started a really good listserv for Canadian teachers. So we'll see. I don't know if it would connect with that particular area or not, but it's worth investigating.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or issues, things that people were wondering about?
I was wondering if, has Ellie been in touch with you or Daryl about going to visit that Cactovic school?
Yes.
Okay.
And we had that idea originally, and I think the idea was you were going to do it after the expedition, after your field work. Go back.
Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering, because we talked about it briefly, and if they've been in contact with you, then I don't need to say anything about that right now.
That's all I know about it too, is that that's an idea. So, okay, I think they want. So yeah, saying there's some people that we might ping for that, because like Steve in particular, there's another guy, Ken Dunton, who Mary, Beth, and Steve, some of you might know, who's done a lot of work out of Cactovic in particular, and he might have some contacts there.
And I just emailed the principal, so
okay.
Figured why not.
Yeah, I'll remember to write down Ken Dunton. He's got a lot of work out of there.
Yes, Ken's a good contact.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Other questions? All right. So our last little bit here is I want to put Adina on the spot. So Adina, now that you've gone through a pre-field, kind of a hurry up situation for you, your bags are packed, you're getting ready to go here. What's your advice to this group in the room?
My advice is many breaths. So as it gets closer, there's only so much you can do, and eventually you just have to let go and enjoy the trip. Definitely talk to your paired teachers. So I actually meet mine last weekend, as you mentioned, and really helped me out, giving me all like the little details that you don't really think to ask, or like little fun things. Like when you're at the time off, go here or go there. So definitely talk to those teachers and get all the information you can. Let's see. Call the credit card companies. So you can make sure you use your credit cards. I do everything with lists. So I have everything in lists. And then right now, my new genius plan is like when I put something in my suitcase, I have it on my list. I have like the things I need and the things that are already in there. So as I go and get stuff together, I don't have to like worry and be like, did I actually put that in there? Did I remember that? Because right now my brain is like in 5,000 different places.
Imagine that. Yeah, you can come back for me on my trip. That sounds good. I like it. Good advice. All right. I'm going to add one more to that list. Please start practicing journaling. I don't care whether they get posted or not, if they're real, but please don't let that training go too far down the line. Just make it a habit, and because then Judy and I have to start reminding you. But also it's nice to have a journal about you, just kind of, even if there's nothing major going on and you aren't going out till the end of summer, just something about what you're doing, maybe what you're thinking about, maybe, this meeting, if that, something so that your students can post comments to in particular. And also, just remember, Adina and Jennifer are already journaling quite a bit, so your students can post comments to their journals, which is even better. So, yeah, and Rebecca. Rebecca's talking. I don't know what you're saying, but you're.
Oh, I was just saying, me too. Post comments on mine.
Yeah. There's some of you are definitely active, so make sure that you cross-post to each other and get your students to do the same thing. So, all right. Anything else from anybody? Comments, thoughts, parting words of wisdom?
I agree with the journaling because I forgot everything and then remembered, oh gosh. So use your little helper too, the teacher reference page. Because I totally forgot everything when I started journaling.
Of course you did. I'm not surprised. It happens to everyone, even the best of us. That's okay. Judy and I forget. We forgot something the other day. Judy's like, I can't believe I forgot that. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you for spending an hour with us and sharing. We look forward to talking to you all individually here again soon. And keep up the good work. You guys are doing great. You're all about where I thought you would be. So, all right. You're welcome. Have a good night, everybody.